If you've been wondering, can my brain actually recover from pornography, or have I done permanent damage? I have some very encouraging news for you. Everything we've talked about throughout this series happened because your brain did exactly what healthy brains are designed to do. It learned through repetition. That's why I believe the most important word in this entire conversation isn't pornography. Instead, it's neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is your brain's incredible ability to change based on experience. It's the reason your brain could become hijacked by repeated overstimulation, the reason those patterns became miswired over time, and most importantly, the reason that your brain can become rewired. This video is brought to you by my HarperCollins published book, Mind Over Explicit Matter. If you're ready to quit porn and reclaim your life mentally and physically, go over to drtrishleigh.com/book. Recovery isn't about hoping your brain somehow fixes itself. Recovery is about understanding how your brain learns and then intentionally giving it experiences that teach it something healthier. When you understand recovery through the lens of neuroscience instead of willpower, everything begins to look different. One of the biggest misconceptions I hear from people is they're always telling me they're afraid they've done permanent damage to their brain. I don't see it that way at all. Your brain isn't broken. It's adapted. Think about someone who has practiced the piano every day for 10 years. Their fingers seem to move effortlessly, not because they were born that way, but because repetition strengthened the neural pathways responsible for those movements. That exact same process happens with unhealthy habits. Your brain is not making a moral decision about pornography. It is not deciding whether something is good or bad. It's simply becoming more efficient at whatever you repeatedly ask it to do. That's neuroplasticity working exactly as it was designed to work. And if repetition built these pathways, then intentional repetition can absolutely build new ones. Recovery isn't about waiting for your brain to change. It's about consistently giving your brain the kinds of experiences that allow change to happen. This is where so many people become discouraged. They stop watching pornography. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months, yet they still don't feel fully motivated. Their attention hasn't completely returned. Healthy intimacy doesn't immediately feel natural again. That's often the point where people conclude, nope, recovery isn't working. But the behavior was never the entire problem. Behaviors grow from neural networks that have been strengthened over time. If those underlying networks haven't been retrained, your brain naturally continues to pull you toward the pathways that your brain already knows. That's simply how learning works. Recovery isn't about removing an unhealthy behavior. It's about replacing it with healthier patterns that your reward system can begin strengthening instead. So the goal isn't simply to stop doing something. The goal is to give your brain something better to become good at. This is where rewiring truly begins. Recovery isn't simply about avoiding artificial stimulation. It's about rebuilding your relationship with real life. Every single day, your brain is asking one simple question: what should I become better at? The answer comes from whatever you repeatedly do. That's why I encourage people to intentionally rewire their brains back into their lives. Go for a walk without bringing your phone. Exercise not only because it's good for your body, but it challenges your brain. Learn a new skill, build something with your hands, spend uninterrupted time with someone that you love. Sit outside and notice the world around you. It's so special. These experiences won't produce the same immediate intensity as artificial stimulation. And that, my friend, is exactly the point. Instead, these experiences begin teaching your reward system to rediscover pleasure, satisfaction, and joy in ordinary life. Every one of those moments is helping your brain reconnect with the kinds of rewards it evolved to pursue. This is also why I teach what I call the instant rewire. The moment you notice yourself being pulled toward an old pattern, don't simply sit there trying to resist it. Interrupt it. Stand up, move your body, shift your attention toward a predetermined, healthy activity that reconnects you with your real life. Maybe that's stepping outside, taking a walk, calling someone you care about, fitness, or reading a few pages in a book, working on a meaningful project, or simply practicing gratitude. The specific activity matters less than the fact that you're intentionally redirecting your brain. Every single instant rewire is a vote for the brain you're trying to build. In that moment, it may seem almost insignificant, but neuroscience teaches us that repetition is where transformation happens. Those small choices, repeated consistently, they gradually become the new pathway that your brain begins following automatically. You're teaching your brain that effort can once again lead you to satisfaction in the real world. And although those rewards may feel quieter in the beginning, they become richer and more deeply fulfilling as your reward system heals. One of the most exciting developments in modern neuroscience is that recovery doesn't have to be based entirely on guesswork anymore. With quantitative EEG brain mapping, we can actually measure how different brain networks are functioning. We can evaluate attention, emotional regulation, processing speed, self-control, and the overall health of your nervous system. So instead of asking, "Do I think I'm getting better?" we can begin asking, "What is my brain actually showing us?" That changes the entire conversation because it allows us to move from assumptions to objective information. When you can see how your brain is functioning, you gain a much clearer understanding of where you are today and what needs to happen next. But measurement is only the first step. At Dr. Trish Leigh and Company, we don't simply identify where a brain has become hijacked or miswired. We use advanced, personalized neuromodulation technology to help retrain those neural networks at their source. Rather than focusing only on changing behavior, we're helping the brain build healthier pathways through the very same process that created the problem in the first place. Neuroplasticity. Understanding your brain isn't about labeling yourself or proving something is wrong with you. Instead, it's about creating a personalized roadmap that shows you where your brain is today, and it gives you a clear science-based path with data where it can become what it should and could be. That's where lasting change happens. So throughout this series, we've talked about 3 stages: hijacked, miswired, and rewired. Those aren't labels. They're a roadmap that explains how the brain learns and how it heals. Your brain became hijacked because it encountered levels of stimulation it was never designed to experience repeatedly. It became miswired because neuroplasticity strengthened those pathways and those patterns over time. And it can become rewired for exactly the same reason. Every healthy choice you make is another repetition. Every instant rewire is another repetition. Every moment you choose real life over artificial stimulation, you guessed it, another repetition. Little by little, your brain begins remembering what it was designed to do all along. So don't ask yourself whether your brain is learning, because it is learning every single day. Instead, ask yourself a better, more important question. What am I wiring into my brain today? And if you're ready to stop guessing and to stop understanding and seeing your brain, please visit drtrishleigh.com to learn more about brain mapping, neuromodulation technology, and the brain rewire, Desire Rewire method, because your future isn't determined by what your brain learned yesterday. It is determined by what you repeatedly teach it next. So don't forget to control your brain, or it will control you. I'll see you next time.